Hello, BB Gangsters, this is Calvin, also known as Wormer, and this is my first ever playthrough of What Remains of Edith Finch. I think there was an upstairs section up here, so I want to go out here for a second before we do anything. I think we're going to be finishing this game today. If you look in the character, sorry, not the character thing, the family tree, you'll see Dawn and Edie are the only two that we haven't drawn. Sven and Sanjay are outside the actual blood of that family, of the Finch family, so they won't be actually drawn in, I'd say, is my estimation. Judging by the way this is here, look. They're not written in blue pen. That's just basically what's going to be happening, I'd say. And the thing is about this game so far is that it has been oh, there's no way to go up here. Okay. I thought that like this was an avenue to get up here, but I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, the thing about this game, this has been a heartaching game. This has been a mountain of, you know, it's there's a million and one words used to describe a family trauma that like just runs through this family, and like it's hard not to see why. It's one of those things where like at the start we talk about like, you know, the idea, it's so true, the idea that it is a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I mean? If you believe in the curse, it's probably gonna like pop up wherever you see. But from the outside perspective, if you already believed in curses and then you heard this family was cursed and then you saw all this, like, what do you say? You know what I mean? What can you say? It's crazy, the amount of things that have happened in this family. I'm just checking the dates. Has anyone actually... Yeah, like... The only people who had, like, an extremely long life, I guess, would be... Not extremely long at all, like, you know what I mean? Like, a longer life probably is what? Odin, Dawn, and Edie? Because I feel like everyone else, like, you know, was very, very young. Very young. Walter, I suppose, as well. But again, he's still young. You know what I mean? That's, like, to me, that's still young. You know what I mean? It's like... It's hard, like, it's even like with, like, Dawn. Like, yeah, Dawn as well. Like, it's like, that's not, like, an incredibly long... You know what I mean? Like, I still feel like that's young. Like, a lot of just young... You know, lives being taken away. Incredible storytelling as always. Last time it was really great. I think that Dawn and Edie are like the two most...
From Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
Yeah?
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
Right. So she was ready to leave.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
And it's understandable. Like, I'm totally like leaving now, to me, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, first of all, like, moving in general, like, away from all this stuff, like, makes perfect sense. You saw, like, in the last time with, like, they said Milton saw something, but also there was characters, like, and probably a lot of these family members, like, you know, wanted to escape the idea of, like, especially Lewis is the one that said it outright, wanted to escape the idea of even being a Finch at this stage, you know?
I wish we'd stayed.
You wish you'd stayed? I think the mother was probably so in pain.
I understand why we left.
Like, how could you stay? Like, it'd be so hard. I understand, but then of course, like, you know, there's the water filter again. Leaving Edie obviously alone is a well, she would have been alone, right, at this stage? Right? Well, she wouldn't have been alone, obviously, if you stayed, but it's still like... You understand why you'd leave, right? You understand. All these boxes everywhere. Packing peanuts as well.
Ended up leaving everything behind.
Even photos as well. It sounds like if she left everything behind, that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to leave this family behind. You know, she didn't want to remember this. Or she wanted to at least try and forget, possibly, as well, in some way. You've called your servants to ventures of which we cannot see the ending, by paths yet untrodden, through perils unknown. Give us faith to go out with a good courage, not knowing where we go, but only that your hand is leading us and your love supporting us. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Oh no. It's a beautiful window as well.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Sorry, I blow into the mic sometimes as I'm like, just like, you know, relieving a sigh And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do that. It's not nice on the ears. Look at this, all the like the origami. This is beautiful.
That last night.
This is the end? I didn't realize that we were this close to the end, right? If this is all that's left. This is a stunning room, Edith. It's so stunning. So this was her room? Like, this is a dream, right? Like, I know it's like a very small room, but like, I feel like, you know, it's one of those things that, oh wait, look at all the men, the soldiers from Lewis's imagination. Is that it's like a police officer talking to a lady? I wonder if that's what happened the night with Barbara. The drawing there as well. Some toys as well. Well, I guess maybe not. Maybe it's just like specific toys that you have throughout your whole life. 90th birthday. Yeah, these are the civilization people. Norwegian folk tales. This is a beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. What is that? It's like it's a feather? A quill. Or like a pen, but it's like a quill. I don't know if I even I don't know if I even want to open it. You know what I mean? I'm actually feeling like I don't even want to open it.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word.
Wow.
Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together.
Whoa.
And all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hall.
She interrupted her there.
Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
So Edith's saying they wanted Edie to come with us, obviously. So now we're playing as Edith now as well. The music here is absolutely stunning as well. It's very dark, so I guess we'll follow the light.
the power had been shut off that morning.
Right.
But Edie always had plenty of candles.
There's the basement.
When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
There's another entrance. Oh, through here?
Or that Edie had a key to it.
I don't know why I'm surprised. There's so many like different secret entrances out around this whole place. This is so dark. The lighting. But I think it's intentional, right? That's why the candles are like lighting the way so beautifully.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
The thing you're afraid of. So I wonder if it's something similar to what Milton felt as well.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories.
Oh.
I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
My children are dead because of your stories? Does she think that Lewis's imagination came from the stories? Like his vast imagination? And maybe Milton also like having this like, you know, because we saw in the like what he was creating in that world in the flip book as well. Maybe that's like why he left? Or why he ran away or something? Is the stories that are kept in this house? And she doesn't want Edith to fall into that as well? Possibly. I don't know. I don't know that that's the case.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
This is a gigantic place, isn't it? Oh, there's like a bed here too. It's actually very cozy. Putting candles everywhere, by the way. This implies that Edie that assumed that someone would come here. You know what I mean? Or maybe she wanted to keep every aspect of it alive. So there's Odin. The houses. The night you were born. Milton. Lewis. Ran of 8. Ran. Milton, Barbara, Calvin, Sam, Walter. That's all the names, yeah. Wait, is this ideas for a story? Is that what this is? The History of the Finches by Edith Finch. She still has those hand warmers on, by the way.
There's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born.
Wow.
That night, the tide went way, way out.
Something feels very, very, like, different about this environment. Maybe it's the fog.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean.
An earthquake.
They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
The capsized house, right?
But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Wow. Oh, it is a very low tide. I just realized we're like walking through the
I
lake.
lost my way.
That's unlocked a new fear, getting lost in the fog. I've never been in like a location that has like, oh my god, now I'm lost. Why did I do that? Oh,
I got turned around.
why did I spin?
I started seeing things.
Oh my god. Again, what's true and what's not, you know what I mean?
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
Like what? It's a bed frame?
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
There's a wheelchair.
That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Again, questioning even like her own story right now as well. I'm so it's like it's a mixture of like nervousness and excitement to see where this goes.
Can't explain, but that I need you to try and.
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
Oh no.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
She wanted to see the end of that story for sure.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Oh my god, that scene of her like.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Oh my god, she died that day. That's why that's why the tank is like still left out with the
After that,
wheelchair's
we
still
moved
there.
around a lot.
This is a heartbreaking game and especially like here's the thing for the mother as well,
We both
like
tried to
losing
make the
all of her
best of it.
children like that, apart from one, of course, and her losing all her siblings. Like, how do you come to terms with this at all?
A few years went by.
I wouldn't be able to. Oh, it's like a little fairy. I know they're like dandelions.
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot.
Oh no. So that's probably why she. Yep.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Oh.
And then I was alone.
Literally the only one left.
The last Finch left alive.
And all these words flying by. Disjointed.
Until I found out about you.
Oh yeah, the younger one.
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this.
Her child.
If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes.
Okay. Because she's...
Appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Look at this, it's like a portal. She's telling all this story to her child. Wait. Hold on. We're not moving right now, by the way. This isn't us.
This journal was supposed to be for you.
Right.
But now I hope you'll never see it.
Oh, wow.
I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way.
Wait, so she didn't get to tell her own daughter the stories or her son the stories? What the hell?
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all.
What the hell,
luck.
man? F that. Oh. That is devastating, but like so beautiful at the same time. Oh, it's over? It's like for Shirley Dallas. Oh my god. It's over. And there's all the freaking family photos now as well, right? Holy hell. Wait, is this the show? Is this the photos of the people who worked on the game as babies? Possibly. I was like, the Gregory stuff obviously like I think got me like the hardest before this. And I was like so I felt so put together at a time at one point. I really did. Alden Milton. I felt so like put together at a time when I was playing this. And I think I just like felt like I didn't have time. Like the game wasn't even giving you a chance to like really dwell on feeling like too emotional at times, because I really feel like, you know, I was telling a story and I went from like that's horrible to that's shocking to that's sad. And when I say that didn't give you the time, I feel like the ending of this game to me, when we hit the end, I thought about like everything almost instantly, and I burst. The dams broke completely for me. Like I said, the Gregory stuff hit me the hardest out of everything. Everything all along, like we've been feeling those emotions, right? But I hope it makes sense what I'm saying, that like I feel like now with like with this feeling like this intense sadness and emotion right now, it really felt like one of those things where like the game ends and the game's almost like, okay, now feel everything, you know? Oh. Because following this family has been so, like Like, it's been like an outer body experience sometimes for me. A lot of it didn't feel real. A lot of it didn't even feel like I was playing it, you know? And we were feeling like, you know, whether it be like disgust of what happened in the story of Barbara, or, you know, a feeling of dread of what happened to, you know, some of them as well. Like, and I think, you know, one that, you know, with Gregory, it was like that dread as well. Like, it was a dread and a sadness of like what's going to be happening here as well. This is a beautiful credits, by the way. Annapurna. Jesus, shotgun. And like, I feel like that's, if I could describe my emotions throughout this entire game, the best way I could describe it is dread mixed with a, like, and this may be insulting, but like, dread filled with like a pity and a sorrow. Like, Neil Druckmann got to play this apparently. It's really a tough game to think about, because every time I'm like, okay, let's talk. I'm not right now. I'm like trying to like express like stuff about the entire game as I do with the credits. Enjoy. Thank you. You know, we always do that with the credits, right? We always talk about how we that you spent a long time in this game, and it shows. It really shows. I didn't expect this video to be this short. I didn't know how long I had left last time. The replay is story options now available. So you can replay all the stories. This is, I think this is perfect having the family tree here. We'll talk about this for a second here. And there's Dawn, and there's Edie as well. This is hard because like I didn't cry a lot through this game. I think with the Gregory stuff, it hit me the most. Like I said, a lot of it was just a lot of like shock and like a feeling of like dread and worry and all this stuff. It felt so bad sometimes playing this game. But when I hit those credits, now I'm trying to think back and everything, and when I look at the pictures, I'm just like, I can't. I'm like trying my best to look back on these characters. Let's go through each character's story, I guess, and talk about everything, then talk about everything as a whole, I suppose. We'll try our best to get through all this as well. Lewis, a character who like tried to separate himself from his own life, to the point that they showed it through this beautiful visual interpretation, where the fog that was his imagination started growing into like it was like the real world was encroaching on his imagination as well. This is hard. Started even thinking about this. And Lewis ended up cutting his own head off because he was so deep into that imagination. Now, there is different opinions, like whether he knew he was doing exactly what he's doing, or if he didn't, whatever, or if he just like, if he was so in his imagination. I think it's a bit of both. I think that like it was easier for him to do whatever he thought to do to get away from being a Finch, because he was in his imagination, is the way I look at it, which is very sad. Milton, I think you guys are explaining to me that like through his art he escaped the family, and even in his like flip book he escaped the family. It sounds like escape is such a hard word, but I think that's what a lot of people felt like when it came to this stuff, like, you know, this idea of a curse or whatever. We'll go to Dawn and Edie at the end, but then Gus obviously had this, like, Gus was so funny for the short time we saw him there. But Gus, as I was playing through Gus's one, it felt like this feeling of dread, because I knew something was going to happen. I knew something bad was going to happen, and I saw the kite flying around the place. It was a very beautiful scene as well, the kite flying through all the text and stuff like this. Absolutely stunning. It really was. But it was that's how I described this game. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Oh, that's effed up. That's how it feels when you play this game. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. That's effed up. Gregory, who is a character who I really feel like we obviously didn't get to know because he's a baby. But we got to know him through his, like, what the parents really felt like would be his imagination, I think. I had to mute that song, the Nutcracker song, because it got blocked. I don't mute songs even if they're copywritten, because the way I see it is I make money off of playing other people's video games that they made. I make money off other people's art. The least I can do is respect the art enough to kind of like show every aspect of it. But the reason I had to mute it this time is because it just got blocked. Like it wouldn't let me show anybody the video, so I had to mute it, unfortunately. Like the last video, episode 2, got copywritten, and and I didn't want to mute it again because it's a part of the game, and it really is a part of the art. And you take a hit for an episode, and it's okay. It's okay. Because again, I if I'm playing other people's art, I want to make sure I'm respecting that art. You know what I mean? With the Gregory story, it was again another feeling of dread, but also like again, it's two things made me really sad with the Gregory story. The Gregory story was a baby losing their lives without any knowledge of what was happening to them. It was also a story of a mother and father who are going to think about that for the rest of their lives, or did think about that for the rest of their lives. Gregory, it's the type of death that the parents will blame themselves forever, and they will, It just goes that way. With Walter, it seemed as though he was in this world where he felt like he was in danger on the outside. We don't know how true that was. Again, the idea of unreliable narrators. But then he died by getting hit by a train. That old Metallica line in the song, it comes to be that the soothing light at the end of your tunnel was just a freight train coming your way. It really describes his family to me. It really, it legitimately does. It describes his family so freaking well. That soothing light that you think is at the end of your tunnel is actually just a freight train. And I don't think there's any line in the history of music that describes his family better, because it is like every time when it seems like things are getting better, they get much, much worse. Sam had a very interesting story as well, because he was also, I think, showing the paranoia of the family quite a lot. I think, again, two theories on the thing. He's a military man, but also he's lost a lot of people as well. So in his book and his mind, he's protecting his kids. I think the house rules, they weren't too bad, but obviously the military aspect of everything was trying to protect the kids from what's outside or what is happening in this world. And I think in his case, he really showed off the paranoia, very much so. Gregory, I think if you're talking about the idea of a curse, showed off how it can hit anybody. Lewis, I feel like was a representation to Dawn of the idea that these stories can get people hurt, the same with Milton, and that's why she didn't want for Edith either, I suppose, as well. Calvin was also another thing where it's he died a gruesome death. This kid, and I know it's horrible to say. I know it's really horrible to say, but that's what happened. He died a death that I wouldn't wish on anybody. Now, it was probably quick as well, and I don't want to talk about the death like this way, but the reason I'm talking about how gruesome it was and how how horrible it probably was. And I thought gruesome is probably the wrong word, but it was very it was a blunt death. But the way he described it was very magical, because that's what this family does. It was described as him flying, you know what I mean? And I feel like he's also trying to represent the idea of how they sugarcoat a lot of the deaths that happened in this family as well to make them seem more magical. Barbara, to me, it just makes me feel sick. It really does. Barbara is a character who clearly was either fell and died, is one of the theories I heard. Another one is that her boyfriend actually was the one to murder her. It could have been anyone who murdered her. They didn't find the murderer. The fact remains to me is that I think, and I love Edie's story, but it really feels to me that Barbara was disrespected a lot throughout, her afterlife. To me, because it really felt as to me that her celebrity overshadowed who she was to a lot of people, and I'm glad that they brought it down to earth to describe, to have us play through her eyes. But then even in that story, it really felt like it was a tongue-in-cheek, and that's what most of the stories are. They're very over dramatized. They show off these very beautiful gameplay sequences to make you kind of be oh my god, this is an amazing story. But with Barbara, for some reason, she breaks my heart the most. I just want no one deserved to die, but I really feel with Barbara, she deserves to be, remembered as more than just a screen queen. You know what I mean? Not there's anything wrong with being a scream queen, but I feel like, you know, it became a thing that weighed on her heavily for years and years until she was told she couldn't do that event or whatever. Molly ate some holly. And I think this was also, once again, it was the first story we saw that, or the first storytelling technique we saw, and I really think that was also trying to tell us as well that, like, you know, that these stories are something that, like, I think it's very good putting that first, because it's instantly supposed to make you go, like, how does that work? You know, this can't be real. You know what I mean? This has to be something, you know, the stories have to be kind of like a little bit tipsy-topsy in a lot of ways. I also want to say, I don't think Edie is disrespecting Barbara, by the way. I didn't mean to make it sound like that. I think what's happening with Edie, as we'll talk about her now, Edie is a character who, like, wanted her family to be remembered in a very magical storytelling way. But Dawn is the opposite in a sense, where Dawn has her own beliefs, and Dawn didn't want what saw. I think the final straw for Dawn was what happened to Lewis. I think that was just the end of it, because she was very quickly able to relate the idea of what happened to Lewis as one of the stories that Edie would tell, right? I do love that in the end, Edith, who is the character we were playing as, gave to her child a story that is saying all the amazing, like, stories that were told before, but while also saying to her child, like, hey, this family, you know, you should be happy to be a part of it, happy that they even got a chance to do anything. I'm starting again. But know that, like, I'm fairly sure that Edith is, you know, trying to, like, make sure that it's not like a believe in these stories things. It's more just like, understand that your family wasn't cursed forever. Edith's gone then. Edie's gone. The only one who's left is Edith's son or child. Odin as well, by the way, is, I think Odin was trying to show, like, a very as how the media responds to the family and how they saw them as, like, a very unlucky family already, and he was, like, a perfect representation of how, like, the media started to understand what this family was like. But it's hard not to look at this family from afar and say that they're just unlucky and cursed, right? It's hard not to. Like, let's be honest. I don't want to be, like, rude here, but I think you guys would agree that, like, while we know the family is something much more than just a cursed family, I think it's totally like I don't believe in curses, but I think it's one of those things where, like, after this many things, premature and early deaths, you would be sitting down with your own family talking about this, like, reading in the newspaper, Edie, that woman Edie died recently, and you're like, wow, wait, another one died? And then 6 years later, you're like, wait, Dawn died? Like, that family has to be cursed, even though they're, like, spread apart, but still, it's a lot. Edie lived the longest, right? And I think the reason she got to live the longest from my book is probably because she was supposed to write the stories, and then Edith was the one who was supposed to write the stories afterwards. I think it's a great function that you're able to replay the stories as well, which is really cool. You can choose. Oh, that's very cool. You can just choose which story you want to replay. Very, very cool stuff. Guys, that's going to do it for this series, and it's going to do it for this video. I think if you want me to say about the quality of this game, I think that, you know, I pretty much described how I felt about this game throughout this entire thing. I think it's a really amazingly told story. The visuals and the design of that is also really, really fantastic. You know, the storytelling techniques were, like, I think are second to none in a lot of cases. But that, guys, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching this series. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride. This video, the next series, I'm not quite sure exactly what it's going to be, but we're going to continue alternating playthroughs back and forth because I think that's the most fun way of doing things. I really feel like it's great to have, like, you know, oh, we'll watch this, play this one day, play that one day, play this one day, play that one day. And I feel like that's the best way to go about it. I hope that makes sense. Appreciate you guys quite a bit. This has been an amazing game. And I'm glad I got to experience you guys. I'm going to say thank you to my patrons who are at the highest tier on Patreon, which is the €15 tier. I am European. And I will say that... Oh, my favorite story out of every one of them, by the way, was probably, like, Lewis's in terms of visuals. And in terms of, like, the actual storytelling techniques, I think that out of all of them... Gregory had hit me the hardest, and I think Walter had some of the best written dialogue throughout the whole thing. That's what I would say. Thank you so much to Typhara2, Jamie Bull, Jenna Banana, The Ghost of Eden Zuma, Felicious Felix, Yule, Radish, Noosa, Death Trap, Lynx Markey, Assassin, Colorbow, True Peanut Butter, Alpaca Juice, Peter Chelsea, Heck, SR Fiji, and Leon. And I'll see you all so soon. Bye bye.